Hey there, welcome back to Arms Trade Tycoon. We are now accessing 1936 and above. This is the new update version of the new era. And I'm all for it, because we got a lot of stuff to research. What's currently going on? Well, I'm working on one contract. I have a supply contract for the British. They want me to send over 48 additional Mark E's. So that's the dual machine gun turret. And it's going to be a little tight. I got 31 days, and I might have slightly overplayed my estimation, because even though I have a lot of workers on these lines, I got one which is going to take 55 days. It's not quite acceptable for the British, so I'm going to keep hiring as many additional, not engineers, workers as possible, and make sure that we just crank out production, because I really need it. Otherwise I'm going to have to probably renege on the contract, or at least partially, and the Brits won't like that. There already is another contract coming up. This is the first contract for the Belgians. Now, the Belgians are looking for a tank that has a lot of protection, a lot of firepower, and firepower hard means you're going to have a gun on there as opposed to just a machine gun, and they want crew performance to be pretty good. This is not going to be satisfied by the Mark E. They absolutely despise that tank for sheer lack of protection as well as firepower. So maybe the medium Mark III. No, they don't like the protection on that one either. That kind of leaves us with the Mark E Type B. And it basically comes down to the fact that I don't have a suitable tank for this. That's a problem. I just don't have a good tank. If I go to Tier 1... No, I don't even have Tier 1 tanks. I think Tier 1s are going to be hopelessly outdated. What sort of protection are you seeking, sir? You're looking for a front thickness of 59 and side thickness of 59, so you really want something that's going to be able to take a beating. Makes sense, as they have to be able to take on enemy bunkers and heavily armored units. That is not quite what we deliver here. Maybe if I adjust medium Mark III, I can make something happen. So it would have to be heavily armored, and it has to be looking pretty good in crew safety and crew aiming. And what is the rest? Firepower. You want me to be able to do decent range and decent damage. Okay, this is where the actual design part begins. Even if I'm able to get the contract accepted, I'm still going to have a bit of a problem delivering. But I first want to see if we can make something happen. What I currently don't really have is a suitable tank, so we're going to have to probably send in a prototype, an experimental tank. I'm not sure if they'll like that, but okay, so be it. We're going to go with the heavy independent. If you want something that is capable of taking a beating, this is probably going to be it. At the moment, we're looking at 43 and 34 side thickness, so that's a far cry from what they seek. We're going to have to edit this in engineering. If I want to make sure this thing has all the armor that the Belgians seek, we're probably going to have to go with some pretty hefty layers of armor. What sort of alloy type's going to help? Kinetic resistance. We're going to get better protection, but front thickness, etc. still doesn't get improved that much. Let's go with the Wotan cemented steel. It'll definitely take a hit to the weight, but protection goes up. And if I want to crank this up to the required 59 millimeters, that means maxing it out. This is going to be one heavy, heavy, heavy tank. Even the side thickness does not get there. I don't think I can get this thing built, because I'm not sure if I'll be able to fit everything else on the tank. There still has to go, well, an engine has to go in there. We have to get crew in there. We have to make sure the thing can actually move. And with all that weight, that's going to be a little difficult. So I think the heavy independent... Look at that, the weight's almost doubled. This is not going to cut it. If I don't use that, we're going to go back to a tier 1, which I think is not great. So let's say filter it to tier 2, and I just don't really have any good options. We got the medium Mark 1, but looking at front thickness, that's worse. Side thickness is 15. We are not going to get to where they need us to go. This is why I'm very interested in researching, eventually that is, that infantry support hull, the Heavy Matilda. Because that is definitely going to be where they want it to go. 75 frontal, 70 side thickness. This is going to be what the Belgians seek. Unfortunately, I will not be able to participate in this contract. I simply don't have the tank that they want. So that means we'll have to focus on the British contract, make some money there, and continue researching. As for research, we're almost getting stabilized fuel, after which we're going to be able to get another bit of research going. There's a military campaign in Al Kufra between Mexico and Italy. Okay. And there has been another war. This is going to be between Mexico and Italy. Right. I didn't mention it on video, but there has been a war between the Germans and the British for some time. They just had one encounter, and the Germans won. Aside from that, not too much noteworthy things happening. Oh, here we go. The Battle of Uvira. Let's see what these guys are bringing to the party. We got a couple of very light tanks for the British. Some, what's that, Hussars. So, horse, some 25 pounders. And I think these are bunkers of some sorts. So we're probably defending. I still don't exactly get this. Anyway, our striking power is going to be pretty similar. We've got 158. The Germans, and I'm saying we because I'm supplying the Brits, we have 158. They got 153. They do, however, have the Bal der Ausführung C, and that looks like it has a bigger gun than we do. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to turn our tanks into scrap metal very quickly, because our tanks are probably not designed to take that level of beating. I don't think this is going to work out for the British very well at all. Which kind of is good for me, because that means that they'll be losing tanks, and as they lose tanks, they need to replace them. Now, what are we going to go with? I have two options for mobility. I got lightened running gear. This is going to be a light hull, allowing for fast mobility, or high mobility, quite well stabilized. I don't want that. That does not line up with the tank that I have in mind. The Meadows H12, 12-cylinder. It's a lot of horsepower for a small size. Helps lower the gravity of a tank. Great, but what I really need is, I think, the twin inline 6. This is going to probably be the engine or the power plant for the Matilda. So, let's get this researched. 200 days, good lord. 200 days. Okay, can we upgrade that by any chance? Can we speed things along? Because I'm almost done constructing the rolling hull, the casting hull, and the rifling hull for the main production facility, which might speed things along. Okay, France and Italy have ended. The Battle of Uvira has ended. The Germans have won. They seized the battlefield. How much? The Germans got a victory. The attacker power was 192. These guys were the attackers. The Brits were defending. They had more defense power, but the random seed, I think, pushed it towards the Germans, so that the Germans actually won and gained a campaign point. I'm not exactly sure what those things do. I just think that the more campaign points you score, the more likely you are to win the campaign. So that means you really want to try and have your nation, I think, maximize campaign points. Because if a nation that you are supplying is going to lose, they might lose economy power as well. As that happens, we might see that they don't want as many tanks because they can't afford them. Let's see, do we have the breakthrough lab? No. I want to get this one. This has a chance of completing the project in 1 day. It's only a 6% chance, but that's not terrible. Let's get that going. It's going to take 15 days to construct. As for here, we're looking at a production completion of 29 days. That is, if I don't boost it. And I need to start shipping tanks out now. Because at least some tanks can get delivered. And for the rest, I think we will have to pay a bit of a late fee. If they want them at all. So I got, what, 11 days? 11 days. This is not going to go well. I have 32 tanks out of 48. If I'm going to send them with this, that's a 13-day potential. I'm not going to take that risk. If I go for a high reliability and ideally fast delivery, That's going to take 6 days. I'll take that, sign it, and send it. I need to get some money, otherwise we're going bankrupt. Not immediately, but potentially fairly shortly. Ah, here we go. The battle has begun. It's a low-intensity assault and artillery barrage that's been reported on the battlefield. Okay, we've delivered 32 tanks. How many do we have? We got another 4. I only have 7 days. I can pull that trick probably once more. And I think we're going to have a late issue with a bunch of these tanks. Sorry, Britain. You're going to have to either wait, or I'm going to have to pay a little bit of a fee. I got 6 tanks, and I got 6 days. We're going to have to send them out right now. Send what we have with the best transport capability. That's... ah, this is better. It's 15 days. Send them, and let's get it over with. What is my deal here? I have a cancellation, or... I don't want to cancel it. Maybe I can get a delay fee. Maximum accepted delay period is 30 days. The money fee per day is 55,000. It's not terrible, because that's basically the price of 1 tank. Okay, so we might be able to complete that contract still. There we go, we have another 10 tanks left to go. At this point, we're probably seeing the Brits go, hold on, overdue, 30 days. This is when we're going to see a bit of delay fees. But that's fine. Right now, I'm looking at a revenue of 2.7 million. And we can probably still get some money out of that. There's the breakthrough building. I want to immediately upgrade that. Because then I can get it to 9%. You can even get it to 12. Are we going to crank it immediately to tier 3? Can you do that? Can you just skip tier 2? Yes. You can just skip tier 2. That's easy. Cool. We'll do that then. Alright, tank complete. Ship it out. The Brits aren't going to be terribly happy, but at least they get their tanks, I get my money. And I think we can still be friends. So, sign that, send them out. And let's see how much of a fee that's going to cost me. The Brits and the Germans have concluded. The British seized the battlefield. That was surprising. Wasn't that the battle where they had a lot more firepower? Yeah, but we had a lot of defending power, apparently. There's also random seed here. The outcome of the battle is determined by the military powers of the attacker and defender, with the uncertainty of battle represented by a random seed. I don't know whether that gets attributed to the defender or the attacker, or I don't know how that works. So I think this tooltip could be slightly improved. Anyway, the Germans actually lost the fight, and the British won. How about that? Maybe it had to do with the mobilization bonus. The defender gets a bonus for mobilization, and of course the attacker does not. The attacker, however, does get an experience bonus. These guys were more professional than ours. Well, than the British. I keep saying ours, but that is not strictly true. We've completed the contract. Probably not entirely to their liking, but we got it done. I think with 2 to 3 weeks to spare. That is, on the extension. We're back to about 5 million bucks. Nice. How about we just preemptively build a couple of tanks? Just to make sure that I have a couple of these Mark-E's available. I don't need 25. Let's go with 15. And we are running low on rubber. Okay, give me a shipment. This was always a problem for me. I typically don't order enough materials. Let's see, how long can I expect to wait for that? Potential delay for 5 days. 23 days I think is a bit long. 9 days from Middle East. And rubber is going to go for 4. 8 if you want to get it from Europe. Wow. Asia is only 3. I think that's better. How are we doing on rubber? We got 560. And I have 72,000 out of 317k. Okay, let's immediately order in big. Let's say I want to get 9,000 of that. And how are we doing on the rest of the resources? We're running a little lower on iron than I'd like. Iron's going for 4 here. It's only going for 2 from Oceania. So let's ship in a bunch of rubber from here. And with the second line, I can start shipping in some iron from there. So let's say I want to get 25,000. Yes, it'll take probably a lot of time to get here, but I'm not really expecting to have to meet a contract like that immediately. What can we build? How many? Can we get like 10? I can get 5. Whatever. Build 5. If I don't really end up selling them, I can always scrap them. That'll be fine. Very nice. The British have achieved a remarkable success by obtaining a rival's tank, the M2E3 Ewell. This extraordinary feat underscores the resolute determination and tactical prowess. Yes, just take me to the tank. It's going to give me 6 new components, including potentially a much better hull than what I currently have. The British are offering it up for 547k. I will happily accept that, and I'm going to tear this thing apart. So, let's have a look at reverse engineering. Let's see what we can learn. I don't care about the manual, I just want to get this thing. So we're going to get the medium hull. We're going to get the Renault i6, the Lindworm. That is the track. It's only a tier 2, but we might still be able to make use of that on some tank. We're going to be getting the Dassault MLE 126. That's a tier 2. I mean, yes, it makes sense that we're getting tier 2s because most of the tanks that are out there are probably still tier 2. We're only getting to tier 3 eventually. Let's assign some engineers. I'm only getting 20? Don't I have more engineers? I thought I had a whole bunch of engineers doing... Oh, hold on. They're all in the research bureau. Right. Let's hire a whole bunch more. Let's go with 20. Yes. And that should take this down to what, 50 days? 50 days. Good. I can potentially also get the rest of these parts by going with a second line. I just don't really feel the need to rush it, because most of these things are relatively old and thus not that likely to improve my tanks that much. So I don't really feel like that's a priority. The Belgians would like a new tank. This is going to be a potential lucrative contract for me. They are, however, requesting stats that I might not be able to fulfill. They want high-end protection, high-end firepower hard, so to take down bunkers, and they want a pretty good crew performance. It has to be able to take on bunkers and heavily armored units. The char de bataille must boast extreme firepower, heavy protection, and good crew layouts so that they may break through defensive lines. Okay, what do they want? They're looking for a tank which has 59 front thickness. Well, so much for the light ones. I think the closest option then becomes, like, what, the medium mark? The Mark III? No, it doesn't have anywhere near the front thickness. However, what about that new one? Because I recently completed the reverse engineering of the medium T1. This one. What sort of front thickness are we getting here? 25? Okay, never mind that. That's not quite going to cut it. I think we're running into issues that I simply don't have the tank. If I want to upgrade the hull to have that much armor, this thing is going to be ridiculously heavy. So that's not possible. Or that's not possible. If I go for the... No, I don't care for that. The front thickness on this is awful. I need a land ship. Can I get a tier 1? Although, they might not have the armor either. Well, 30 and 27. Like, it's progress, I guess. That's the heavy mark... No, the heavy mark 8. The medium mark C. I don't think it's quite going to cut it. 24 and 10. Never mind. This thing is outdated. Massively outdated. We really need to get the Matilda researched. We really need it, because I'm also bleeding about 500,000 a month now. And there is not really that much prospect for making a whole lot of money. Can I focus on something else? What's the least awful option that I have for them? Minus 3k, minus 3200, minus 6.2k. That is horrendous. This one I understand because it doesn't have a machine, or it hasn't got a cannon, it's just got a machine gun. They really want that firepower to be protected as it's trying to break through the lines. Wait, they're requesting 63 frontal armor. Yeah. That's not quite gonna work. Even with the medium Mark III, I'm only going up to 12. Sorry, Belgium. Can't help you there. I wonder if anybody of the other guys can. I hope not. So that when potentially my contract, or, well, when my research completes, I can still get something done. For now, though, we're going to have to disappoint Belgium. Maybe we can satisfy the requirements for the French. They're looking for a supply contract to give them a stopgap medium tank. They want that firepower soft, protection, and firepower hard. So machine guns, and again protection. Okay. 46mm frontal thickness. Look, I just don't have that. Minus 5,000. Minus 4,900. Minus 7,700. Oh, I need to have a stopgap myself. I need to have something that can take on that sort of contract. And I just don't have it. Once the Matilda comes into play, maybe. Maybe. Like, this is a start. This is a start. The Heavy Independent Mark V1. The problem is that I probably cannot get it ready in time. But I do want to start working on it so that I can start satisfying other contracts. Do they have a weight requirement? They would like it to be around 30 tons. This thing is currently 31 tons. That's without anything attached to it. Okay. Oh, hold on. Is that massively boosted armor protection? Yes, it's the massively boosted armor protection one. And they want how much armor? On the hull, 46. And that is something that might work. Because it doesn't have to make the tank extremely heavy. 46. Side thickness requirement, if any. Hull. Side thickness they care not as much about. It has to be 34 or better. And rear 34 as well. Okay, so we're going to take some armor off here. Let's say 34. And rear has to be 34. Now we're looking at a tank that's 24 tons. Maybe that can work. If I don't make it too heavy. And the Wotan cemented armor is probably making it very heavy. They did want to have a pretty hefty ricochet chance. But I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of armor, at least armor weight, in order to make something happen with the weight of the whole tank. Otherwise I can't probably get it out there. 23 tons. 24.5. This is not ideal. Let's go to this one. 23.6. Can we improve something else? Do they even need headlights? Basically weighs nothing. Maybe I can get as good of a stat card as I can here. So let's go with the best headlights. The radio that they're currently using is, I think, slightly outdated. It's a 2.2. If I give them a Canadian one, it's going to increase weight. It's going to improve crew comfort. And it says a -1. So it reduces requirements for the driver. Okay. We got a perforated hatch. That sounds like an awful idea. I mean, the enemy's going to try and perforate it for you, so why go through the trouble of doing it yourself? They want to have a bit of crew comfort as well, right? They want protection. They don't care about crew performance. Well, they do, just not as much. Let's see. If I go for the better hatch, optimized maintenance hatch, or the bolted hatch, this is going to have less rear thickness of the tank. Curious. I think it's not that bad. This thing is extremely angled. We should be able to get away with that. Ventilation, we are currently using 2.2s. And I can upgrade that all the way to 2.5, which is going to give me the electric ventilation fan, which is going to go for crew comfort and operation range, but side thickness take a hit. That's not acceptable because they want to have that side thickness protected. If I go for the ventilation fan array, that does keep the side thickness up. It actually improves it a bit. Side thickness is now 39. Yeah, so that's good. I can then reduce the amount of armor that the tank actually needs. The hull hatch, I can go to 2-2 reinforced turret hatch or the barn hatch. This is going to increase crew comfort. This is going to decrease crew comfort, but crew safety improves. This is going to go for less top thickness, or more top thickness and more top ricochet. I think top ricochet was a stat they sought, right? Protection, hull, top ricochet. They need that to be 49. What is my top ricochet presently? 5. That's not very good. Putting it mildly. How do you increase that? This is just top thickness. That's not what they want. They want top ricochet. I think we might be in trouble. The cemented armor, we checked. We have the type of assembly. I still cannot select 2 3s. Or tier 3s. I'm not sure why. Anyway. Do they care about repairability of the tank? No, not really. They just need that to be 133 or better. And reliability is 202 better. Okay. So, currently we're not using, apparently, any type of assembly. I don't know how that works. I want to make it as, well, I want to find a balance between being light and being useful. This is going to add 1.25% to the tank. It's going to take up a little bit of volume. It's going to make the crew safety pretty good, but the crew don't like it. Tough. Additional ammo, I don't think we need. Additional shells. How many shells can we stow? We can stow 47 shells. How many do they want? Is that something they desire? They want 27. If I reduce this to not having it, we can bring 37. That's fine. We got plenty of room. Do they need additional range? Because I imagine that's what that does. Operational range presently, probably not great. 15. I'm really going to try and tailor to the French because I'm down to 2 million and it's going down pretty quick. Mobility, operation range 25. Okay, we're going to have to throw in the additional fuel. Right. Heavy independent 1-1. Back to design. Oh, actually, not back to design, because I now kind of overdid the side thickness. The side thickness doesn't need to be 39. The side thickness needs to be 34. 34. I can shave some weight off that. Open in engineering. Because less armor means less weight. And they are going to get a slight bonus there, so I can reduce this more. There, 36, and they wanted 34. So they're actually going to get a slight bonus there. And that does make a bit of difference in the weight of the tank. Good. Save. Back to design. Then, we're going to throw in an engine. It has to be a mix between punchy, so I can get the thing going, and it cannot weigh that much, because I also have to add tracks and stuff. And tracks are probably going to make this thing pretty heavy. Cerberus ones can work. We're looking, however, at a maximum weight of 23 tons. That's not acceptable. We need something heavier. Cerberus 2s. Yeah, that is the Cerberus 2. The Typhon. That's an 8,000... That's an 8-ton track. You can probably make it work. I can go to 39 tons, but that is going to make this thing very heavy. Edit that track. Maybe if I reduce the weight of the track some, I can make this thing fit and still not have to carry everything. This is going to have a vehicle mass of... Sorry, it's going to have a total mass of the vehicle 3.5 tons. I don't need it to have that much. I need to push that limit down. The limit is at 37, 35, 35. Leaf spring suspension. We're going back to 35. Then we have the grousers, which are going to add 7% to the weight of the track. No, they are not. They are not. As for this, the idler doesn't matter that much. And the skeletal frame. This sprocket is 76 kilograms. It's not that heavy. It's a tier 2 4. Sorry, tier 2 2. Let's go to the duralinium one. Should increase road speed. Not sure if they care about that. And cross-country speed goes to 11. Yeah, it's going to make the thing a bit more maneuverable. Okay, save that. Back to design. Can I get away with this? Probably. Because I can still add an engine. Although it cannot be very heavy. And I have to add a turret and a gun. The good news is, it doesn't have to be fully turreted. You got slots for 5 turrets, but that's a bit much. It's going to make the tank very, very, very heavy, while effectively being largely useless, because you don't need that many turrets. Oh, hold on, that's the small one. Where's the big one? Here's the big one. I need to use the Dassault one. That's the one that I got from the French. It's a multi-gun turret, which is very useful, because I can add both the gun and the machine gun. Weight, 28 tons, and that's without the engine. That's a problem. The gun, of course, also has a pretty hefty weight. Let's put the 2-pounder in there, which is going to give me a firepower hard stat of 255. And, no, I don't care for espionage. How much do they want? Firepower hard. They want 27 shells. And they want a firepower stat of 532 total, with an accuracy being very important and rate of fire being very important. 62, what, rounds a minute? Rate of fire, 25. So, my accuracy is awful, and my rate of fire is awful as well. Isn't that lovely? This is going to give me some slightly better accuracy, but worse rate of fire. How am I going to get a rate of fire that high? What is it that you would like me to do to fix that? A 3-pounder gun is only going to get heavier and is going to make the rate of fire worse. 15. We need some sort of small gun. I think the 2-pounder would be the closest thing, but the rate of fire just isn't there. It just isn't there. If I start adding crew, maybe we can eventually start getting that rate of fire back up. Okay, engine. Oh god, we're already at 29 tons. Can this move the tank? No, it cannot. Power to weight ratio, minus 45%. We need a much beefier engine. Let's go with the Liberty V12. Yeah. It's got the engine power. So that's good. It's going to make the tank 34 tons, however. So that's 4 tons heavier than the contract ideally seeks. That's not great. I'm going to add 1 turret to this tank. This one. Yes, we'll just design another one. And the rest of these are going to get sealed up. Seal. You are going to... Actually, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. Make it a seal. We're going to have to add a machine gun. They don't care about the type of machine gun. Well, they do, actually. I stand corrected. They want range, and they want shock penetration. You want shock penetration on a machine gun. That's an interesting requirement. Firepower soft. We don't have shock penetration on that weapon. Not in the current condition. Can we get the Lewis... What are we using? It's the Vickers 233. Maybe we can still fix that with ammo. Ammo type. Yeah, the stats are going to get progressively worse as we scroll down. Alright, let's go with the Vickers and see if we can fix that. So with expendables, you can get some shock pen on your machine gun. I think that'll be difficult, but phosphorus rounds would work. And now we have shock pen. Okay. This is going to be interesting. They don't seem to care much about firepower type. They just want it to hit very hard and have a good rate of fire. Kinetic pen has to be 62 or better. Shock pen 32 or better. We are going to go back here. Kinetic pen 37, shock pen 50. Shock pen is very high with that shell. And you wanted kinetic pen 62. We're going to have to go way higher with that. So we need a lot of kinetic pen. And still have some shock pen. Can we use that new shell? Here. That is the increase. Oh, that is the increased shell charge. Crap. Okay. That's going to give me a shell kinetic of 37. I can add a second type of shell. Specifically designed to break through heavy armor. We're up to 56. That's the 19, and I think that's the best I can offer them. Okay, now how about loaders and the rest of the crew? Maybe we can still boost our efficiency regarding rate of fire, because we definitely need to. Give me a gunner. We're going to throw in 2 mechanics. And then we're going to throw in a loader. Rate of fire is now 50. If I add another loader, rate of 50 doesn't, or rate of fire does not increase, but it's not as bad. It's not as bad. I think this tank wouldn't quite do what they wanted to do, but it's definitely a lot better than what I've been able to offer anybody so far. Okay, give me the stabilized fuel that I've researched and the tier 2 purified oil. Paint. Apparently everybody has their own color. I'll stick to the British. Let's just save that. Of course, being a prototype, I don't think I can exactly offer this to the contract. Because I don't exactly have it ready. I'm going to try to get that tank ready as soon as possible, though, just to have an offering. And hopefully the engineers in the Reverse Engineering Bureau are going to be able to get the reverse engineering done. Maybe some more breakthroughs. With that, we should be able to start competing with the medium tank and also the heavier stuff. I would really like to get the Matildas. I'm going to try and prioritize that in the next video. Thank you for watching this one. I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you soon for the next part, unless that is you're a member. In that case, there's a very good chance that the next episode is already up. Thank you for watching, hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you soon for more Arms Trade Tycoon.